What up, YouTube people and all my travel YouTubers? I just wanted to make a quick short video on this hotel that we stayed at for the last few days called La Villa de Zaragoza. La Villa de Zaragoza in Tijuana. Just a quick story on it. Last time we were here in TJ, our normal hotels that we stay at, like Hotel Paris, they were fully booked because there was just a lot of people visiting Tijuana. We discovered this place and took a chance on it. It was kind of pricey for what Tijuana usually charges. They charge $75 a night, but we didn't have many options, so we stayed there. The hotel was clean, it felt secure, we didn't have any incidents. So we were given a discount card. The guy tried to upsell us on one of the more fancy suite rooms they have, which go for like 100 to 110. So we're like, okay, cool, we'll come back the next time. A month later, here we are. We set up the reservation online. And online, when you set up the reservation, it clearly tells you that you don't have to pay. You pay once you get to the hotel. Like, it says that in big, bold letters. However, several days before we got here, they did charge your credit card. So that should have been a red flag right there. I don't like when companies play bait and switch tactics where they tell you one thing and then they do another. So they charged our card before we ever got here. All right, whatever. So we got here later in the night than we were supposed to. And the guy gave some spiel about how he would have to cancel a reservation because we showed up late. And I explained to him, look, dude, we need a room. Do you have one or not? So he said, well, the reservation you guys have for the courtyard, that's scrapped, so you can't get that. But we do have a room, but I have to set up a whole new reservation for you. So I emphasized, you're gonna only charge us for 3 nights, right? He said yes. So he printed up a whole new paper. He put the date from when we were gonna stay there, but he didn't put when we were going to check out. He just put the date when we checked in, and he put that we were going to stay for 3 nights. Now, luckily that did happen, so at least we have some kind of proof. Anyway, long story short, they ended up charging our card for 3 nights. They called our room and claimed that we had to pay for yesterday, which would have been the 3rd night, but the charge wasn't shown yet on our bank account. And so when I paid in cash, they had only barely charged 2 charges, or so we thought. It just wasn't reflecting on our bank account yet. So when it was all said and done, we ended up paying 3 nights on our credit card, and then I paid an extra night in cash at the front desk, which I do have a receipt for. So I made it a point to tell dude when I was paying cash, since they had already charged some of our stuff on the credit card, hey dude, you're not gonna charge your credit card anymore. He looked me in my face and was like, no. Another thing that's very annoying about this hotel, aside from their dubious shadiness, is every single one of the front reception guys are rude, they're arrogant, they have an attitude, and they act like they're doing you a favor by even speaking to you. And had I looked at some of the reviews online to this place, which I should have done, I would have seen that. But since I stayed here previously and didn't have any problems, I didn't feel there was a need for me to do that. The #1 complaint online is overcharging and that the front desk people are rude. They have cameras everywhere. The place is run like a maximum security prison. They take a deposit for the remote and the key, which a lot of hotels out here in Tijuana do. But the way they go about it, like when you check out, they go out of their way to like go examine the room, and they'll be on their walkie-talkie, and then they'll be like, okay, it's all clear, you can give him back his deposit. I just don't like that shit. It makes you feel like you're doing them a favor, like you're not a customer, like you're just a fucking convict and shit. And there was another hotel in Cabo San Lucas we had dealt with this, which I would never stay at again, but this takes the cake because they charged our card, which they said they would not do when we set up the reservation, and we let that slide, and then charged us an extra night in cash. Now is the worst part. So we confronted the dude that I had asked and told him, made sure that he was going to charge the card. Hey man, you overcharged us. We paid for 4 nights, we only got 3. He started trying to play fast and loose that since we came in before the check-in time, that counted as an extra night. And I was like, yeah, but the other guy I talked to, I made it crystal clear that he wasn't gonna do that. And he said he wouldn't, but now that guy wasn't there, this other guy's there, and that's their little tactic. There's always some new guy and nobody knows what the other guy did. So he was like, well, you gotta talk to that guy. I can't do anything for you. You'd have to speak to him. Okay, let me speak to your manager. There is no manager, he said. I'm like, so who runs this place? I can't tell you that, he says. This fool refused to give me the name of the person, and he was acting like he can't be contacted, and he went into some spiel about he's 47 and this is the only job he can get, and he can't afford to lose his job, and if he gives the dude's name, the owner's name, he'll lose his job. And I'm like, what the fuck is this shady shit? So you guys have a hotel where you overcharge people. You break your promise, which you say on the website, that you won't charge the credit card. Then you overcharge the credit card. Then you charge us an extra night in cash, pesos. And then when there's a problem with this hotel, whoever's in charge, I can't speak to them. So then he picks up the phone, he dials some number, hangs it up, and he's like, yeah, that's the signal I give him. And so in the morning when he wakes up, he'll know that I contacted him and he needs to call us. Like, what the fuck is that shit? And so then he starts telling my wife some other bullshit about his age and about how she doesn't understand, and he starts trying to talk down to her. He came with that machismo shit, and this guy's a fucking gump. Like, nothing he was saying made any fucking sense. And so he was adamant that I can't give you your money back. You can talk to the boss, but I can't tell you when the boss will be here. First he said he'd be here at 11, then he said he might not be, then he said that he's not gonna be, then he said that he doesn't know where the guy is, but he knew for a fact that he was asleep. He told my wife, the guy's asleep right now. Because she was like, where is he at right now? He's like, he's asleep. And so my wife was like, okay, you claim you don't know where he's at. How the fuck do you know he's asleep? So then the guy got annoyed and he's like, well, I can't give you your money back. You would have to talk to the guy that was here and talk to the guy that's going to be here after me when I leave my shift. So on and so forth. So now I've had to put a stop on my credit card. We're going to leave. We're out of here. I mean, I didn't even want to sleep here last night, but we did because we had nowhere else to go. And it was the middle of the night when all of this went down, when we discovered that our card had been charged for 3 nights. And so we spent the night here, but I'm out of here. But the one thing I did not want is that these motherfuckers would have our credit card number and they could keep charging it. Because if they charge for an extra night already, what's to stop them from charging 4 nights, 5 nights, 6 nights? Yeah. And we saw in reviews, they used to have a restaurant too, by the way. And on the reviews, people were saying they used to have like an open tab thing, and they would overcharge people for drinks and for food. And the restaurant's closed now. Now I know why, because they're shady as fuck. We didn't want them charging extra shit. Like all the reviews said, people were like, yeah, they charged us for the more expensive room and they gave us the shitty room, or they charged us for an extra night, or we booked a reservation and they charged the car when they said they wouldn't, which they did to us, or we booked a reservation, we got here, and then they were like, we don't have any reservation for you, and then they'd either just cram them in some other room or send them away, and then they get back to the US and they notice there's a charge on their card. So we were not comfortable having our credit card still on file with these people, so we canceled our card. Now luckily, my wife and I, you know, we obviously share an account, so we still have a credit card, bank card. But if we didn't, and I was on my own, or it was just one card for the both of us, would be fucked, because they put a stop on it. So luckily, we're able to work around that, but this shit's dubious and shady as fuck. So if you're ever in Tijuana, do not stay at Hotel La Villa de Zaragoza. Hotel Zaragoza in Tijuana. As a matter of fact, it's not hard to find because it's right next to Ricardo's, which is a restaurant that's open 24 hours in TJ. It's a really popular Denny style restaurant. It's like Vips. It's like here in Mexico, it's like Vips. It's a very popular restaurant. It's literally like 2 buildings down. So if you ever see that on the internet, on Booking, do not stay here, because they have a bunch of security cameras and we never felt threatened in that sense. The way the hotels are split up, there's an alley and there's a lot of shady shit that goes on there, but there's a 24-hour security guard. So we never felt like any of the riffraff was gonna come into a room. Not saying that it can't, but my thing is, when the people running the hotel run it like a prison, and then on top of that, you can't trust them with your credit card information, and they're overcharging and upcharging and extra charging. I mean, that's bullshit, man. And we would have came back, we would have given them more business. We just had to check out and go back to Hotel Paris, and we haven't had any issues with them. Fingers crossed, hopefully that stays that way. And when we have had issues there, they've fixed it. They've actually treated us like clients. So I just can't recommend this place, and I'm still feeling pissed off about it. We're about to go in there right now and talk to whoever's in charge, which I doubt there will be anybody. It's 11 now. There is some other guy there now. He's the guy that I originally dealt with the first time I came here. He's the one that gave me the discount card, which by the way didn't work. When I tried to use the discount card he gave me when we're setting up the reservation online, it didn't work. And then I told the guy that when I checked in, and the guy last night, and they both completely ignored me on that. We're like, well, I can't give you that discount because that's for online. And I'm like, yeah, I tried to put it in. It said it doesn't work. And they just completely ignored me like they do with any other situation or issue you have. So I'm gonna wrap this up now. Anyway, don't stay here. Hotel Zaragoza in Tijuana. I mean, the name should be burnt in my mind, but I'm trying to like ignore any any recollection of this. I'm trying to have a good time on my vacation. I don't want to be arguing with motherfuckers. I don't want to be fucking getting into it. But last night, I was so fucking mad, I was ready to break their TV. Now I gotta go back in here and have these cocksuckers fucking bullshit me again. And you guys know, I'm always recommending Mexican hotels. I'm always recommending hotels in Central America. I stay at places that a lot of Americans wouldn't. I'm very forgiving on a lot of shit, but do not steal my fucking money and do not fucking talk to me like I'm a fucking idiot and do not fucking disrespect my wife, you motherfucker, you. Anyway, I gotta go check out now before they charge me again, but they can't because they don't have my credit card, but they could give my $10 deposit. I should fucking kick the TV in. Anyway, whatever, I'm out, peace. So I went back to the hotel and I dealt with the enema nozzle I had originally spoke to when I first stayed at this hotel. Now notice how this cocksucker steals the receipt, which is my proof that I overpaid for one extra night. So here he's saying he doesn't understand why I was charged for 4 nights when my reservation clearly says 3. And he's correct, but he's about to change his tune real soon. But notice he acknowledged that my reservation was for 3 nights, not 4, which is what they charged me for. So now he's acting like he doesn't know what I'm talking about, and I can't find the receipt that proves that I paid an extra night. I didn't notice at the time that he had took it from off the counter. I kind of suspected he did because I had put it there. I knew I had put it there, but since I was so worked up and I was trying to find the remote and the key and making sure I turned those in and got my deposit back and also confronting this guy, I knew he had to have taken it because I put it on the counter. Then this guy's claiming that he doesn't have it, even though when we went back and watched the video, you could clearly see that the motherfucker took it. Not to mention, we could see the yellow paper on the counter. He kept acting stupid and playing crazy, like he didn't know what we were talking about. He starts ignoring us because he realizes at that point that paper could prove what we're saying is true. So here I froze the video footage so that you could clearly see that when I hand him the key and the remote control for the TV, he snatches the yellow paper and he does it smooth. He just slides it on over, and so then he starts printing up the original reservation from when we had reserved online that the front desk clerk had scrapped the night we got into the hotel. Because remember, that reservation was completely canceled and he drew up a whole new one and had us sign a whole new agreement and a whole new receipt, which is what that yellow paper is, which states that we got there the 17th, not the 16th, which is what this white paper that the guy just printed up says. It says the 16th, not the 17th, which is what our yellow paper proves. I know this is kind of confusing and hard to follow. But anyway, he was trying to play games. What he didn't know though is that we had took pictures of the receipt because this kind of thing has happened to us in other countries before. I learned from that incident to always have a copy of the receipt, take a picture of it, do whatever you got to do. Luckily I did that because this guy took my only evidence, but he didn't know I had the photos of it. So now when I tell him, hey, we're never gonna come back again because of the way you guys treat us, he just shrugged his shoulder and was like, I could give a fuck. Just like the guy the night before. When I told him leave negative reviews on Yelp, on TripAdvisor, I'd put this up on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram and wherever the fuck else I could, they were like, I could care less. We don't care. Notice too how he loves to speak over my wife and he has that machismo bullshit going on. The guy the night before was even worse than this. The front desk clerks, they're rude, they don't listen to you, they just speak over you. So notice at this point he just starts ignoring us again, which he did throughout the whole interaction we had with him. I love supporting Mexican-owned hotels, but I get sick and tired of Mexican hotels that act like this, where they treat their Mexican clientele like whatever. A lot of Mexican families stay at this place. I understand a lot of Americans don't stay at this hotel because if they did, they wouldn't be doing this bullshit. They'd be fucking rolling out the red carpet for us. And I think that's total bullshit that you treat your own Mexican clientele like this. And so as far as they're concerned, whatever. And I just don't like that they take their Mexican clientele for granted. Us showing up there, we're actually complaining, whereas a lot of people probably wouldn't say shit and just deal with this or take it. And it's like, nah, motherfucker, I'm not gonna take that shit. And I promised him I would put this shit up, and he claims he doesn't care. All right, we'll see. So after all this fuckery, this guy had the fucking tenacity, the fucking balls to fucking pull out a receipt for us to sign to get our deposit back when I already gave him the key and the remote. This motherfucker straight thinks I was gonna sign anything. It's like, dude, you guys are shady as fuck. Why would I sign anything you fucking give me at that point? Like now suddenly you're trying to be Mr. Responsible? Get the fuck out of here, man. There never was an apology, because I understand things do happen. I do understand that sometimes there are misunderstandings and miscommunications. communications, but they never offered me anything, not a discount, not even to speak to the manager. Because my thing was like, you guys are claiming you're underlings and that you can't do anything for me. Okay, let me speak to the manager. Then maybe he or she could resolve this problem and we could get somewhere. But their attitude was like, you can't speak to the manager, he doesn't exist, and we could care less if you come back because we got your money. And we don't give a fuck if you leave a negative review because we're not really interested in the hotel business or customer service. This is how we treat people. I'm amazed he gave us the name of the quote-unquote manager. I don't even know if that's really the manager. I emailed the email he gave me, I lodged my complaint, and I've yet to hear anything back from them because these motherfuckers are crooked. Luckily though, Citibank gave us back the money, so I don't even know if this Ray Nelson is really the owner or if he even exists. I don't trust anything these guys say. Like I said, the name he gave me and the email he gave me, I wrote to it and never got anything back, and I sent multiple messages. I even sent him this video. So I don't fucking know. I don't know what's going on here, but I do know I will never stay here again, and I highly recommend no one in TJ stay at Hotel Zaragoza.
Fucking bullshit.